All right. So moved. Mr. Secretary, we have a group meeting.
It has been done.
The September 2025 meeting minutes, I will read them, and review them.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions, comments, otherwise? All right. Move to approve them.
Second.
So moved. Vote. So moved. All right. Old business. Briefly, there's not much to say here. The Reed Racing issue, we've had our mediation, and we will be continuing to follow this. At this point, there's nothing that needs to be done. Okay? The annual meeting is coming up December 16th. We'll be here. A lot more to follow on that later on in this presentation. And then just a housekeeping issue. We continue to get emails from Cole Scott, which is the same, which is an attorney group. I've requested to speak to them. So far, we have not been blessed with a phone call. I get a lot of emails, but nobody there wishes to speak to me. So I'd like to try and resolve this. It's an issue that's been lingering out there.
And who are they?
They're an attorney group that has made a claim against the, it's not a legal suit, it has to do with services, but that being said, it's a significant amount, that's the only reason I mentioned it. Okay? When I know more, I will brief it. New business, Mr. Vice President.
Couple things. Tennis court news.
I got a whole bunch of things.
Go ahead, I got a few of them listed here.
Okay. One thing is, somebody asked a question about our insurance policies. I just want to make sure that,
The insurance policy on here. I am good in the microphone. In the mic.
okay.
Speak in the mic.
So on the insurance policies, I called, talked to our agent, and we have a policy that's in place for an umbrella policy. The directors and officers policy covers them, property and general liability. And that's effective until January 16, 2026. And there was one question about whether we had to have a lawyer identified on the policy, and that answer came back no. So I think we're good on our policy, insurance policy. You mentioned the annual meeting, which is good. I did want to talk about the gate, the front gate, which looks great, by the way. I know Kelly and Brenda were out there working today. If you haven't seen all the pumpkins and everything, and this is something of interest. One of the live oak boxes got painted, and I was told it was by Skip Royster, but there's no proof of that. So I asked for a picture, and I haven't seen one yet. So apparently Skip has even been out there working, which is great. So we appreciate all the help all of you are doing. Over on the right, Tammy and maybe Susan, somebody helped put together a then and now. That would be the same as before and after pictures. Yes, nice.
It wasn't me, I'm just sitting here.
Kim knows what to do. She's Vanna, okay.
Vanna,
But
yeah, there you go.
anyway, that's some changes to our community in the past 9 months, and so that's good to know. If you haven't noticed, there's a signboard in the guard shack that has 2,000 nits, and if you don't know what those are, ask Brenda Royster, she'll explain it to you. But it makes those bright, the screens bright, so you see it during the day and at night. And I encourage everybody, and Michael Azor particularly, putting everything in there, that we advertise things that are happening in our community. And I let the tennis court know, I let the golf course know, that's there for their use too. If you're gonna have something come up, put it on the board and let's use it. So I think that's doing good. We'll see how that fares in the future, and at least it's out of the way and won't get blown away. If you do have a a desire to put something up, I'd suggest talking to Michael first and find out the format that's gonna look best on that screen. So, and it does do animation, but stay on that. Talk to him if you need to. I got a few other things, but I can do them under.
Under Vice President.
Yeah, I can do that.
I was just gonna say the tennis court.
Okay, let me talk about tennis court. That was brought up last month. And I'm here to tell you that I talked to the manager at the tennis court, Eric, and there was two issues was brought up. One was we have relatives come and visit us and they can't go play tennis. And I talked to him about that. If you call Eric directly, and we can get his number and publish it, give it to, get it on the web or whatever. And if you call Eric directly and let him know you're a SPOA resident and you'd like to have your son, grandson, girl, whatever, go out there and play, and he'll try to work it in. There is a user fee, and I will tell you, the tennis court is at 100% capacity, so you go by there, there's usually something going on, but he's willing to work with us on that. The other issue is the fact that the tennis court is inside our community, and I did a calculation, and I think it's probably less than 10% of the players at the tennis court live in Shalimar Point. And so it was raised a question about how about them paying a user fee. And so I'm going to make a motion that we set up a user fee. We can start it in January. I already talked to Eric and said, you know, there's two ways to approach this. One is you could look at it and say, if we were to take that land and develop it, we'd probably get 5-6 homes on it. What's that worth? Or, and I talked to Don, we could set it up similar to the golf course where you do a percentage. And if we said 2.5% of our budget would be a reasonable amount for them to pay. And that's because they use our gate coming in and out. They have trucks come in, deliver stuff, turning around, doing all kinds of stuff. And when we go to have to reseal, repave the roads, we need as much help as we can, and that money would come back to us and belong to the community. So I think they are paying for what they're using, and that's the way I see it. We call it a user fee.
Do they own those lots?
Oh, yeah, they own the property.
You acted like you could sell them. You can't sell them, you don't know.
They can sell them.
Okay.
He was just assessing that, how much space would that be roughly?
How many homes could you put in that area? You know, and not that I want to go there. We talked
5
about
households.
a percentage. So at 2.5%, and I'll let the mathematician handle that, it comes in around $4,000, $4,200 a year. And that's a good start to get something into the coffers for the Shalimar Point Homeowners Association. Yeah, Kelly. Tracy.
Next, could you also add on there for tournament events, specific events? Because that's what brings a tremendous amount of traffic. And then in commercial operations, so you've got food trucks out there, you know, we can get a percentage of those gross sales as well when they have the tournament. So they're out there operating businesses, and those businesses are coming to our property to do that. I think that, you know, now's the chance. If we're gonna go after a fee, we need to go after a fee.
I think it's baby steps. I hitting them up, but they're all, I mean,
I think that here's the thing, and the other thing, Tracy. No, I understand where you're coming from. It happens about twice a year that they bring in food trucks. Not a big deal. Most of them come off my lot down in Shalimar, but so I don't want to pay for anything. But what I'm saying is that we start off with a small amount. As our rates go up internally, their rate would go up as well. So, you know, we can keep on tabs. And this is a start. There hadn't been any fee before. This is a fee. Let's get started, small amount, and then work our way. Okay?
In speaking about this, Pete and I we agreed that the concept of usage fees is probably the most appropriate thing. And if you look at this with a usage fee, it's not really the same when you start adding on a tax for an event or something like that. I likewise have events at my house, and I bring the food trucks out there, and so we're gonna start charging for a food truck to come out, or we're gonna charge a party fee for the individuals in the community. I just think the safest and cleanest way, Tracy, really, is just to keep it as a clean usage fee, and base it on some either percentage, like Pete was saying, or perhaps on the number of parcels. And, you know, I'm ready to discuss this here. You guys, any questions? Any? I would venture to say probably 4 properties is probably a fair number, unless you.
Well, we talked, Don and I talked briefly about it, and if the golf course was to be assessed by the rate, I think that's been agreed upon, 10%, and we said, well, percentage is probably a better way for an entity inside, so at 2.5% is a number we kind of agreed upon or thought would work, and then we don't have to, because they'll come back and argue, well, I can only get 3 houses in there, or I can, whatever, you know, so we don't have to say houses, we can just say for that area.
The 2.5% comes from what, 10%? 10%? What's
The golf course, in terms of our annual budget, the golf course has a assessment to us equivalent to 10% of our annual budget. So if the budget is 146, golf course owes us 14.6 every year. If we do approximate half, each homeowner with our 185, there's approximately 0.5%. Whether it's 2.5%, 5 lots, close to that 2.5%. Yes, 2.5%. That brings it close to $3,300, $3,400. So a quarter of what a golf course would be paying.
Well, then any comments, gentlemen? I think.
So I make a motion
Yeah.
that we establish a user fee to the tune of 2.5% to the tennis court to start January 1, 2026. I think that's it.
I was about to say, I'm about to move that you reach out to them because you've already done so. But yeah, I think that's great. I would second your motion.
Okay. So we've got a second. Any discussion, anybody? Want to vote on it? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Good.
And that begins January?
January 1.
And you'll take.
And we'll let Don explain it to him.
all right? So, kind of briefly, because a lot of these things are touched on elsewhere. Election committee and budget committee are discussed elsewhere. The one thing on here that I wanted to, we are working on the idea of e-banking, right, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll let you talk about that. Then the last issue here is the newsletter, and since the newsletter went out last week, I just wanted to, did everyone get a chance, everyone see it come in? All right. It kind of stole my thunder for most of the things I had to say. Probably the most important thing I want to say is that we are rapidly approaching the end of the year here, and with the end of the year, we're coming up with elections. I'll get into the elections a little bit more later, but I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure serving with these gentlemen. I think we got a pretty good rhythm going, and I enjoy working with them all, and I look forward to having you back if we have that opportunity. So with that being said, that was my personal endorsement. Moving on. Yeah, there's your. All right, Treasury. There was something that came from United Fidelity. You all addressed that.
So United Fidelity, they are the bank for our CDs. Previously, all CDs still under previous board with a memo that will be provided to the bank from the secretary. All of that will be updated. President, vice president, treasurer will all be signatories on those CDs. If you want to make any changes to that, let me know. very easy. We have all the information that they need. We have updated information for maturity dates, values of all the CDs that they do have, and we can start readdressing those, reevaluating if we want to go to any other banks for better terms for any of those CDs moving in the future.
Your report?
No big changes on the report. Monthly versus actual, big thing to notice right now, legal fees due to ongoing litigation is exceeding our estimated budget. So that's something to keep in mind when we go on to next slides. We will start looking at other comments. So as everyone knows, assessments, fourth quarter assessments, those were all emailed out. Process is starting to get a little bit more streamlined with online QuickBooks. So hopefully we're going through
Process of checking emails. Going through process of checking emails. One process is for checking emails with the website. I have my own as a treasurer, a separate list of emails for strictly finance use. Otherwise, no issues. Online banking options with IT website upgrades, working with the Stripe, potential possible options with moving forward, working with Mike. We'll have that figured out over the next month or two, either one testing it out and figuring out what those options are actually going to be, depending on how we move forward, either one with property management company or our own use or different opportunities. We will have different capabilities depending on how we decide to move forward. Back up one thing. Next couple of slides, 2026 budget proposal. So a couple of things to keep in mind, or I should say, items to identify what we would like to have, either one included or reviewed for the gatehouse, either one to utilize existing capital improvement funds or utilize budgeted values that will ultimately affect assessment rates and everything else next year. Gatehouse, entrance gate, whether it be gatehouse beautification or upgrades, changes, whether it be signage, anything with the gates, potential internet coming directly hardwired to the gatehouse, any changes for the social welcoming committees. I know that in the past there's been concerns, issues of we've reduced the social committee budget to accommodate other things. Things to keep in mind. Also, property management services, increased legal costs. But as we'll go on to the next slide, we can discuss, or here are options. So first column, tentative budget of what was expected for 2025, more or less utilizing our full total expenses versus what actual estimated costs from through the end of the year. A lot of these values in yellow, they are estimates as we're just now getting through September, starting to get into October. Main things to highlight, legal costs. Legal costs is really going to overextend the estimate that we were identifying, but depending on what happens with those legal costs, it could go a lot higher, maybe not, we don't know. Things that were not used, general repairs, gatehouse security, security gate. Great thing about the security gate, because I know Denny's mentioned it quite many times before. Security cameras have been awesome. So anytime it's been hit, anytime it's been damaged, it's always been able to be repaired by somebody else, with the exception of Active Nature when it was struck by lightning. That's really been the only cost that we've had to date. So again, that's been great. Couple of other notes, little things, miscellaneous charges, didn't really utilize ground maintenance, or the general repairs. something still to be reviewed. I think that the answer is it's no longer required, but it's still something to be reviewed. Repair of the Masters Boulevard Bridge. I know that it's been looked at by Mike Hall, not necessarily needed to prevent impending collapse, but it's more of repair the pavers or any railings on the side of it if that's needed. Otherwise, things are really more or less in line. Things that out of change. Administration still don't know what it's going to cost for December elections and or voting for anything needed. So guesstimates there. But as you can see right now, we are about 2,500 over estimated budget, so not too far off, but really that number will be affected by pending legal costs, and if there are any more, or anything else that's needed. Next slide. So this was all 2025, so this would be estimates for 2026 proposals. Things to keep in mind, based off of what we spent in 2025 versus our budget of what was budgeted for 2025, ideal budget, we're to try for the same for 2026. We're about, 15 grand high compared to that previous budget. But again, a lot of that is due to unknowns. I think that there's areas to slim that down, just depends on where we want to identify risk, whether it be the general repairs, if we do not want to utilize, or we no longer have to worry about that 6 grand for those bridge repairs. If there is administration, probably don't need that 7 grand, probably be closer to 6, but again, what we want to have in mind, what we want to review as risk, things just to consider. And then ultimately, legal costs. If we are going to be anywhere near what we were this last year, that's going to be an area of concern. But things that were not included in this budget, which still need to be considered or factored in or eliminated. Social welcoming committee, things to be reviewed if that's an issue. Miscellaneous expenses, small amount, but something to be reviewed. Legal costs, as I said. What else? There was something else on there. General repairs, and then one thing that I would suggest, feedback from the group, reviewing any of our existing contracts. Landscaping, I know something came in today regarding landscaping scope of work and reviewing landscaping scope, what that's actually going to cost, something to be considered. But this is the general expectation. One thing to note, our budget of the 146,520, that's currently with every household paying $185 a quarter. I believe it's $740 a year. That does not include that any expenses, or I should say, a expected assessment that we would get from the golf course for that 10% of that budget, which is at $14,652, or now potentially that the 2.5% from the tennis courts. I would expect those to be capital improvement budgeted items. So if we're currently dedicating 20 grand a year from our annual budget of homeowners into capital improvements, potentially there's room to adjust that with those other costs from the tennis courts and golf course. Keeping in mind, we do not receive any costs or any assessments from the golf course until I don't know if it's sold or if our contract stops with them or how that's working, but that's something to review and consider. One more slide to blast through. Special assessment considerations. One thought of mine, and gentlemen, I'm certainly open for a feedback. Depending on how we would like to review property management companies, might not necessarily tie it directly into next year's budget. tie it in as a special assessment that would be broken down per quarter. So it would be to each homeowner and or a golf course or a tennis courts on a quarterly basis, that if it is approved, or a property management company, depending on the level, if it's financial services only or full service, depending on what the board ultimately suggests and recommends, that would be something that could be a separate line item, that if it's approved and it's worked out through next year, then it would ultimately be included in the budget for 2027.
More to follow on. Let's let the property management committee speak a little bit before we start trying to figure out. What? Oh, yeah, when we get to that.
But I think that should all be on the right now. Yep. Any questions?
No, well done.
Do you really expect legal fees to be that high next year?
I would like to say no, but it all depends on ongoing litigation and if that continues into next year, or if that's potentially finished this year.
The attorney's fees are unpredictable. Reality is we would have never predicted what we got into this year, and I think it was, I think that we are working well with our attorney and with the groups that are involved, and it is our hope that this could reach some sort of settlement. But until then, we really can't speak about it.
But also, depending on course of litigation, it's right now, all of these fees are directly to SPOA. We have not engaged insurance company for any of this legal fees yet. Depending on how that goes, that could be an option. But then that would reduce legal fees, but that would also likely increase insurance rates. So we'll see.
Mr. Secretary?
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, really, I don't have a whole lot to say, other than the fact that I have received resumes and the paperwork required for the election from individuals, which I have forwarded on to the election committee. I did have had a conversation with Sharita Bitkofer, who is the administrative assistant bookkeeper for the golf course. And one of the things that I've noticed is that I get, being a member of the golf course, I get all the golf course emails concerning social events, etc. Don has worked very closely with me and forwards items that he feels we should blast email to the homeowners in order to try and encourage increased participation in the social events. And in talking with her, she sends 300 emails out each time she posts something, but it's only to golf course members and PSB shareholders. And I have talked with Mike, well, actually just emailed with Mike, our IT expert, and asked him to, is there a way that we can get a list of SPOA emails that I would give to Sharita so that she could add them to her email blasts. So I wouldn't have to just take them and forward them to SPOA members. And she's quite willing to do that, to add the SPOA email list to her email list, so that when she sends out a blast from the golf course, it goes to everybody, not just to golf course members and PSB members. And I would like to entertain a discussion with the board to see what they think about that.
I think emails are a touchy subject. Mayor?
I think emails are a touchy subject. I would say that, although I personally wouldn't mind, the reality is that there are people who might be offended if an email is given that is a personal email for SPOA reasons is shared with outside SPOA. We're getting to the point of where is that line of solicitation? That would be my concern. My gut feeling would probably be it's better for you for sending it yourself rather than giving those emails to an outside party.
Another thing to think about is, I think what we can do is put it on the website and say, hey, we're just letting you know what's going on. And utilize the sign at the front gate, you know, let them get as much information through that as at the same time, so everybody comes through. So that's my thought.
Or is it worthwhile just sending an email out to SPOA members? Let them know, here's your point of contact. If you would like to be added to their email distributor, contact them directly. You're allowing the member to make that decision themselves versus SPOA trying to do it.
Well, I mean, to that point, we can even give it to our golf course
Rep who just walked in, that we could have sign-in people at the meeting, you know, even in December, that we could sign in and say, yes, I'd be happy to get them. I mean, there's ways of working around it. I just don't want to personally pass the email.
Again, it was just a thought that I had, you know, to try and, once again, increase participation with SPOA members coordinating with golf events. And I will talk offline more about that, and I think maybe at the December election, kind of polling everyone at that point in time, would they like to be added to the golf course email list so that they can be informed of social events that are occurring up there. I'll leave it at that. I did make a bad decision. I had one individual that emailed me and asked if he could keep his utility trailer in his driveway. He was having his truck worked on and needed the space, and I told him it would be okay. I hope it crossed any lines with the. Oh, he's not here. Okay. At any rate, it's gone now. So he just kept it in his driveway for 4 or 5 days. And that's all I've got, sir.
Denny?
I don't have anything as far as the gate is concerned. I do have, I think, I discussed this a little offline with Pete, with my new designation as roads and grounds, and I forget what else is on that, but I picked up. Anyway, oversight. Okay. I'm not gonna mention any names, but I got a complaint from somebody that felt it might be my responsibility. And there's someone that's parking their cars in their front yard on the grass. And to be honest with you, I don't know how we as the board need to handle that. I've tried to go by and talk to the individual, but every time I do, they're gone. But from a board standpoint, what's y'all's, it's a rule, there's a rule, I brought the rules tonight, so I could bring this up. I think it's rule number 5, it's talking about parking on unpaved areas, which a front yard is, right? And it's something that I just wonder what we as the board want to do as far as handling this. Certainly maybe notify the person, let them know that they are doing something that's against rule number 5. And then, I don't know what we would follow up with that afterwards, but the yard in intention, I won't put any of it yet because I wanted to find out what our board decision would be, and of course, even wouldn't bring up a name if I could. But their front yard is very small, and they've got an abundance of vehicles. So there's more vehicles than fit in the driveway, and they got a very small front yard, and they're parking their extra vehicles in the front yards. And I'm pretty sure that's something that rule number 5 says is a no-no, but, how we handle it, I don't know, I'm just bringing it up for you guys to mull over and let me know first of all, I don't know whether I have roads and grounds oversight in that regard or not, but somebody thought I did, and they sent me in. But no, nothing on the gate, so I'll throw that on the table. I'm not asking for anything other than we as a board, how do we handle that? And probably be, it's gonna, if we do follow it up, we need maybe a letter, somewhat, let them know that they can't do that. So anyway, it's just an idea, but I don't have any, I've never seen this in the 9 years I've been on the board. I've never seen where we've had anybody just parking their vehicles in the front. Other than, those that were working on their car, like you mentioned, or whatever, but for a short period of time. But from what I've gathered, the complaint is it's done all the time.
Maybe you, let them know they're gonna hurt their chances in House of the Border.
Don't say that loud, that's good.
Pete offers that they should be advised they're going to risk their chances of House the Border.
House of the Border,
I forgot to mention, Mayor Carmen Pakides really stepped up to the plate with the newsletter. I got an email from her saying, Carl, when's the newsletter coming out? I said, I have nothing. Brenda sent me the House of the Border. And that very next day, she had the newsletter done and sent it to me for publication. So she did a phenomenal job. I don't know how she did it. I'm sure that other people were involved in its production. And I just want to say how thankful I am that happened.
I'm coming back for a second. There's a couple things that I didn't get to. One is, I have here a signed appointment letter for the social committee, which puts Kelly Stage as chairman, Mary Carmen and Tammy as part of that committee. So I have a signed copy of that, that you'll have to enter in your minutes. And make sure you have that. I want to bring up, we mentioned briefly about the landscaping. The landscaping, if you notice the then and now, before and after, however you look at it, we've trimmed a lot of that out, that it doesn't need a lot of landscaping. And so therefore, I'm going to make a recommendation to the board that our contract we have with Edwards Landscaping currently, which has been ongoing, we inherited it, is basically a month to month. And so with 30 days notice, we can let them know that we're gonna stop. And then we reevaluate it, and I know Tracy Stage has already looked at it as well. We were on the same wavelength without even talking to each other. And so we reevaluate what our needs are, and then put it out for bid and come out, see if we don't end up with a better price. We also need to definitely define what are our common areas. Some of the common areas I was told is our area, is not our area. It really belongs to the tennis court and the golf course. So we need to make sure we're clear on all that before we go forward. So that's a motion I'm going to put in front of the board, that the board has permission to terminate the contract, I'd say 1 December, and then we will work to get it back, you need to get that? We'll get that back on track for the spring.
So the motion is to terminate the landscaping contract,
Right, 1 December,
1 December,
right,
and then there'll be a request for
proposals, right? And we'll do that after we determine exactly what we want done and hold them accountable. Any thoughts?
I think it's a great idea.
Well, question, do you want to keep the contract for the landscaping in place just for the year to get through December? Then it starts fresh with work on January 1st. Then it's,
That's $1,400 we have to pay for December, we don't need to pay.
just asking.
Yeah.
Uh, do you keep it going through December just to get it through the year? Do you solicit other other proposals, other vendors before or after you cancel that contract? Would you rather solicit, figure out, is it even a good deal of what we're getting, or are we gonna realize, oh, we're gonna cancel our contract and it's gonna cost us $3,000 now to replace it for less work? Or do you solicit from other vendors, keep our current contract, keep our current scope in place, and then once we find somebody else, then terminate that contract, let's say?
I think, Don, you're making a good point. It's kind of along the lines that I was gonna say. I can't remember the guy we had, I think, Bill, we had a guy by the name of Bill, wasn't it? Wasn't that his name? It was our contract?
Somebody.
Yeah. But, basically, he was charging us, probably a little more than what we're paying Edwards contracting, or, contractors right now. And I got a feeling that $1,400 is probably as cheap as you're gonna get it, because we basically had to bill, I think, the bill, not you, Bill, but, whenever he quit or retired, we couldn't find anybody that would do it for, less than what we're getting right now. So I like what Don's saying. We need to keep them on board, even if we think they're doing a fairly good job. If we're trying to fire them, that's a different story. But if we're wanting to make sure we have a good, dependable contractor doing things, let's hang on to them until we find out if we can get a better deal, because $1,400 is, I think, a bargain nowadays. But anyway, that's just me.
So to that point, you did say it was a 30-day cancellation? It's a month. I mean, there's really no harm in keeping the contract going while the press proposals goes out. So, what's up, Tracy?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry. I wrote a perfect RFP. We could go out right now and get bids. There's more lawn maintenance companies and guys with trailers that you anytime, why couldn't we go right now? My point is.
I'm not questioning that. I think that's fine. Actually, all I'm doing is reinforcing Denny's comment, which is, let's keep the bird in hand before we start the press proposals. And it's a relatively small loss. On the other side of that, if you do cancel this contract, you could potentially go a month or 2 months without service while you're doing it. And I don't know how realistic a possibility that is. I leave it to Pete, who's familiar with this. Pete thinks he can do it, right?
Yeah. And the other thing is, let's be real. The next 3 or 4 months, it's not growing, not maybe needing to be cleaned up once or twice. So, and the other thing is, with all the bushes we took out and cleaned up, over the course of the summer or the spring, that's a lot less work that they have to do. There's a whole lot less work than they were doing previously. And so, I don't see the added value as it is today. I understand Denny's point, what Don's saying. I don't have a problem with it either way. But going into the winter, you all know you shut your pumps off, you don't do anything with your yards, and you wait, you got 2 or 3 months there. So, I'm good, whatever you all want to do, I'm fine.
All right, so the motion was to terminate the landscaping contract, 1 December.
Motion to terminate the landscaping contract 1 December, and then pursue request for proposals.
How about this? Motion, or let me rephrase it. This is a motion that we can all agree to. Let's start the solicitation process for a new landscaper. Start that today, tomorrow, whatever the case may be.
That was option 2.
But, okay.
That was option 2. That was the other one. I was going to get that one next. If we didn't agree on this one, I was going to say, what I just said, I agree. The other one is we should go ahead, and like Tracy was saying, go ahead and request the proposals now. So, okay, so the second option is request proposals now, and then, keep the contract, landscaping contract, present until we have more.
Until something else is awarded.
So I would say, all in favor of one? All in favor of option two? Okay.
Next subject?
Next subject.
Financial committee, Adam McDonald is doing that. I know, I don't know that they met, but they're working. We have I think one other person they're working to get on that committee. And so, and then they can actually meet and get going. The document management committee, Tracy Stage is doing that. And I think Tracy is at, the 16th, is that when your meeting is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's gonna be a meeting on the 16th on all the document management, the review, and that's to go through. And I wanna clear up, there was a lot of confusion out of that town hall where they said, the president said, we hire a lawyer to do document review. That's not a true statement. When we were sitting in mediation, which is a lot of downtime if you've never done that, we had that lawyer that was getting paid, so we asked him questions. And one of the questions was, how much would you charge us to review our bylaws and our covenants? And so that's how that came about. We didn't ask him to do anything, we just asked him how much that would cost. So this committee will start off with the document review of those items, and then we'll go from there.
For free, right?
For free. Is that- Tracy, free? You're not charging, right?
Big, you wanna, relate what the attorney told us he would charge?
Well, he did say between 8 and 10,000.
I thought it was 15.
10 to, no, you're out of line.
All right. It was a lot of money.
Yeah, it's more than that. So anyway, that's all I have.
Is Lee here, architectural standards?
No,
He said no changes.
No changes, I did see something about a door, but, okay.
He's having a meeting.
Yeah, he sent an email to that individual that requested about the door.
Right.
And we have a meeting next week, you said?
Yes. Yes.
Website, Mr. Azar.
This board website.
Yes, sir. We also installed a 55-inch digital kiosk display at the Gar Shack. It's an outdoor, high brightness display, has a cloud-based content management system that allows us to update it remotely if we could get internet there. It also has additional cooling system. For the fiber optic in the gatehouse, we talked about it last month, that will, are you guys beside that tonight?
What do you say?
The fiber optic for the gatehouse?
Yes.
Okay.
What about?
I didn't know if you guys were gonna vote on that tonight, or you wanna vote on it?
Where's your slides? You get the slides?
There it is. Sorry about that. Oh, no worries. Okay, so the fiber optic for the gatehouse, of course, will allow for remote access for the security cameras, allow us to update the new display, the kiosk display remotely. And speaking with Patriot Tech, they said that will replace the LTE part of the call, the gate system, which will drop the price down from 47 to about, drop it down from 47 to about 30. Drop it down $15 a month, whatever that is. And the programming can be done online. And other than that, sure.
I talked to Nate today. He happens to rent from us, but I was in there chatting with him, and I wanted to know what the stats were, because I asked Denny, do you know what the stats are for the people that use the call box? How many in here use the call box to call?
Phone.
Right.
I can tell you, typically the bill It's less than 50 a month.
Right.
And the way that the pricing works, it's based off of 50 or less, then it's 99 or less, and then it's 500 or less. We are normally in the 40 to 60 range of people that actually use the box to call somebody.
Okay. Let me tell you exactly, because I sat there while he pulled it all up. From July to October to today, he pulled up, we had 10,000 events. That means that gate opened up, or somebody clicked a button, came through there 10,000 times since July.
It's a tennis club.
What?
It's those food trucks.
That's why they're getting charged. Out of those events, how many of them ended up being with the call box? 9. 9. And out of that 9, it's 3 families. There's 3 families that live here that use that call box. I guess they did it 3 times each. That represents 0.004% of the utilization. So, to make sure before, you know how IT guys get blamed for messing everything up. We wanted to make sure that if we pull something that's being utilized, that we got a response. To take it out of the landline and put it into digitize it, which there will be some programming, have to redo some things, but it saves us about $30 a month from where we are today.
Well,
That's based on.
it's not taking out landline, it's taking out the cellular line, replacing it with
Yeah.
a fiber
Yeah,
line.
right,
And-
right, yeah.
But
And-
that cell phone bill, I thought it was 75 to 90.
And once that happens, all the pictures, the cameras, you can do online. In fact, he can sit in his office over in Mary Esther, and all the properties that are digitized, he can sit there and see all the cameras. So when the sheriffs call and say, I need to see who that was that went through Shalimar Point, he can sit in the office, pull it up, and say, here's who the car was, boom, 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 get the license plate.
Free service call, because he doesn't have to drive.
Yeah, so anyway, I just let you know I found some information.
No, thank you, I appreciate it.
Cut them off. Cut off.
And then back to the e-commerce, Don has got the Stripe account set up for a bank account. So I've been going through and trying to correct a few errors on there. Not errors that he set up, but errors with the connection from Stripe to the website. So resolving those issues, and hopefully we can begin to actually do a transaction this month. And other than that, we resolved a few issues, multiple logins, multiple accounts and password resets. That's it.
When are you gonna start that electronic testing billing?
This month.
Okay,
That's what, Don got it set up to the
right,
Connected
back.
to the bank.
bank, so now I can do the website part.
Good. Next slide. That was your only slide?
Yeah, I did.
Mike, I have a question.
You had, somebody had.
So once this is set up, we can pay online?
Yes, sir.
It'll be a 3% fee.
Yes.
Stripe,
Yeah.
so Stripe is what? What kind of company is Stripe?
Stripe, I guess it's kind of like PayPal.
It's like Venmo, like Zelle, like PayPal, they are a processing fee. They take your money, they charge your credit card, they will charge you a 3 or 3.5% service fee for that process, and then it's through our account, whether it be automatically or as requested, as the treasurer has requested, it sends money from that account directly to our bank account, keeping a track and record of what transactions are made.
And it adds the 3% on, so you get the full amount. They get additional 3%.
It gives me for an assessment of 185, it would be your 185 plus 3%.
Right.
All that we would see is the 185, not the 3%. So it's,
Adds it on.
so the courtesy fee for this would be the 3% fee of 185, so you're
What if it's not a credit
$5.
card? What if you do a bank draft?
Do they do bank?
They do bank drafts?
ACH.
Or debit card.
I'm not sure.
I don't know about that.
With the routing number. Well, I would say most
But
likely,
most,
but I'll let you
most,
know
most
tomorrow.
places do, so I'd be surprised if they
It's
wouldn't.
worth a question.
I'll look real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's last month.
Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Are you making a motion for anything?
I will make a motion.
Oh, good.
I will make a motion of, I'd like to suggest, do we want to bring in the fiber optic internet from Live Oak into the gatehouse?
Yes.
Yes.
I second.
Second,
Third.
Third, awesome. All that, agree, say aye. Awesome. 5-0, awesome.
Very good.
Got anything else you need, Michael?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Social chair. So this position is currently open?
Nope.
No?
No, I'm sorry, we just named you in.
Nope.
So Tracy, welcome.
Kelly.
Kelly, welcome. Would you like to say anything? Oh, yeah, you do.
No.
He said he did.
Hello. Kelly Stage, 851 Masters, we just moved in, not too terribly long ago. I'm gonna help out whenever I can, do social stuff. For Halloween, we're not doing anything spectacular. We did put some pumpkins out front, Brandon and I did. But we're asking the board to leave the gate open till dark on Halloween so that the trick-or-treaters can come and go. And then we'll do something for Christmas. We'll get back to you guys on what that is. We just don't have anything yet, so. This is an appointment as of tonight, so that's all I got for you.
How many people get trick-or-treaters?
Just to piggyback on that, we're gonna, put some sort of decoration on the mailboxes and ask you to leave your light on to let them know that you're participating. Because we have a lot more families in there.
Do you have to do something special with the gate open? You know what the gate's open?
Oh, that's it.
This guy's You gotta remember.
Yeah, so what she was saying, one other thing, if you're gonna do trick or treating, leave your light on, make it to where they know that it looks friendly or something. Just inviting, or not scary, or whatever it's supposed to look like.
Property Management Committee, Don?
So last Thursday, we had our town hall meeting, and we had, actually 31 households were here, because they're both husband and wives on some groups. So there were about 170 households that had no voice in the straw vote. The selection offering we gave was like a good, better, best for like $25, $40, and $60. That was difficult for people to understand, what they were getting. It caused a great deal of confusion or discussion, I guess I should say. So the board requested that the committee make a recommendation. So we worked on that and requested new bids for a financial services only package. And the bids were reduced from $24 a quarter to $15 a quarter. So that's only $5 a month per household. So the financial services includes more than just bookkeeping services. They'll actually prepare, collect, and deposit the assessments. They'll do invoice review and payments. They'll prepare monthly financials and work on the yearly information going to the CPA for tax returns. They'll also assist in an annual budget with the board to get the budget for next year. They'll help monitor the reserves for the HOA. And they'll process estoppel requests for resales. They also offer an HOA portal
for online web payments and documents. You know, so a lot of things Michael's working on, they already have in their portfolio. They just give you your own domain and they set that up pretty quickly and easily, and it's included in the price quotes that we got. So the committee requests for next steps that the board vote, let the homeowners vote on hiring a property management company and provide this suite of services as described on the previous page. The low estimates are $5 a month per household. This is $12,000 per year for the HOA, plus incidental printing and postage that we're already paying now to the tune of about $3,000. I think I saw on Don's budget. And then later, next year, the year after, if we want, we can request additional management services to go to more of a full service if we want to do so.
So I thank you, Don, that this very much, I think a couple things. Number one, the first is we had the meeting, and I think it was pretty clear that people didn't understand or the cost appeared to be prohibitive. So I think this is a good step in my direction. I personally think that the idea of a financial services option was something that I was very willing to entertain personally, and certainly happy to have that discussion here. As far as some comments regarding how we would do this, I think the biggest issue is if it's going to be a substantial increase in the dues, then I think we have to consider doing it in the concept of getting the community to approve it. On the other hand, we can certainly have it within our scope to put it into our budget and to raise the annual dues an amount which will be represented in the budget that we vote on in December. So at this amount of $5 is something that I think we could probably factor in without having to take this to a vote, just based on what the committee here feels, because it's for the service that will be provided. That was my take. Any questions?
And I'll be honest with you, I think when you look at the depth of the board and everything we have, the only thing that concerns me about this board is that we only have one person in the treasury. You know, and if something happens to this guy, so you all keep an eye and make sure he doesn't hurt himself. If something happens to him, then we gotta regroup quickly and try to get back up to speed. And nobody wants that to happen. So I do like the idea of having some financial support. I don't know what all that is, but I think if we have somebody that can maintain and keep things rolling and you oversee it and make it all happen, I think that's a good thing. And for $5 to $7 is not a huge amount of money. And I would just say we'd have to see exactly what we get for that. But like you said, we can put it in the budget and then go through the process, get a proposal, whatever, and then make a determination whether we go or not. So that's my view.
Before we do this, or I should say, even just adding this to the budget, I think we need to figure out what our current budget would be. Either one with this or without it. I actually say, let's look at the budget before we even consider a property management company. Because then, whether we are adding money specifically for a property management company, or if we already need to add an additional 12 grand onto our estimated budget before we even discuss a property management team. Still something to be considered, just because of this, if we wanted to go, is this the last item we want to discuss? Okay. Then that might be the issue of we either need to have suggestions or come together on what we want in the budget to be first, because of the current options for budget, that's already eliminating things like social committee. That's eliminating potential other things to even keep us back to where we were before. So it could be an increase either way.
John, what are your thoughts about the whole concept of,
Financial services, legal management.
I would want to see this, understand the scope of what they provide, but being the treasurer and the greedy person of my time, oh, I would love to have somebody else do it. But at the same time, it's what's going to be better for the community, and what do you think it's really worth for their list of items. And I was even mentioning this before, we're paying for somebody else's time. If we have, we'll call it our own financial support committee, as long as we have 3-4 individuals that are willing to donate their time, then I don't think we need the financial services committee. But if it's just me, and I'm the only one that's putting forth the effort, and nobody else wants to participate, then honestly, it's okay. Having the extra support that we're paying for, I'm not going to turn it down. So.
I have a question from the standpoint of timing. This is October. We're talking November, one more meeting, right? And then we're going to be in the throes of doing election, end of year budget stuff. Are we looking at this as trying to get it done by this coming December, or are we going to try to do it later?
I think that's great. My point is that when you go to budget, and you draw up your budget, you can put this into the budget. You have cost, you have an estimate, and if you can't meet that estimate, we don't have to engage in the service. Then it would be money that would be put back into the budget for other things. Or reserve. I think it's worthwhile to put it into the budget for planning purposes. That being said, I recognize the time issue, but I also think, to what Don and Pete are saying, I think it's worthwhile to see what these people are going to do. I don't want to just necessarily just say, yes, let's go ahead and contract somebody for $12,000 a year. I think ultimately, the idea of putting into the budget is my plan, especially at this amount. If you're talking $50 a quarter, $200 a year, I think you really need to consider that and get people in the community, because that's a substantial increase in the annual dues. So I would not do that. I think that would require a bigger option. That would a petition at least that brings it to us to say that. So at this point, we are at a place where we can consider doing this. And that would be my thought. As far as how do we do it, I think we should put it into the budget. And as far as the budget, we do need to get the budget. We need to have that sorted out. And I think that's what the financial committee has to say.
And the one other thing I want to bring up is that this would help us have continuity. Because this guy is running for a position. If you guys don't elect him, then one of you are going to have to do the treasury. So that's how it's going to work. So that would help us down the road in making sure we don't have this situation in the future.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So the next move would be to ask the Property Management Review Committee to take the next step, to look at it as a vendor and bring us a detailed list of what they supply for that cost?
No, I don't think so. I think what we do is we decide, are you gonna put it into the budget for this amount? And then he's gonna have to sit there and go work with them to figure out what are all the things that he needs and what can we get for that money. And then a decision will be made after the budget's been approved.
I mean, I hate to say it, but the budget's got to be approved. If we put it in the budget and the budget falls flat, we shouldn't even be taking the pressure. Pros will have to figure out, chop things out of there and go through the budget again.
Well, it's the impact, and this is what we've seen the last few years, is you have a budget. If budget is approved, or the last few years, the budget is matched the year before. So it's, if we develop a budget, and we'll just say it's current budget is increased from, what's it supposed to be, 146.5. If it's increased, 15 grand to cover this, and that budget is not passed, then that budget, we revert back to the previous year's budget. And it's, the purpose of the budget is to determine what we're going to be collecting for assessments. So, worst case is we fall back a year, and then we exceed our budget based off of direction.
Gotcha.
And
Right. So Sam, you're gonna make a motion to add it to the budget.
My motion is that we add this to the budget.
Second.
But I'll still go back to the question, is it better to develop the budget based off of what we need, excluding the property management company, have the property management company costs, and have that worked out or figured out or baked into whatever cost, have it as a special assessment that's either yay or nay.
Well, the alternative then is you could bring two, we can come with two budgets, right? One with, one without, and we say, okay, we're gonna recommend this budget in December.
Or if that's the, so then the direction for the annual meeting would be pick a budget,
No,
A or B.
no, the budget has to be approved. I'm saying that we can come back in November with two budgets. Which one do we think suits us? And then we're gonna make that recommendation, we're gonna put it on the vote, and then that's what's gonna be on the ballot. People are gonna have to vote, yes, thumbs up or thumbs down.
Correct, but it's, if they don't vote on that, or if that budget in December is not approved, then we revert back to 2025 budget. for
Right.
the year.
Right, but I'm saying that when you talk about drawing this budget out, okay, I think that it was just come up with two budgets. Recommend it, what you currently have, with projections, and then we add in this one and we have two budgets.
And all you do is explain the differences from last year's budget to projected next year's budget. Yeah, just say, hey, here's what.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I've got, I'm trying to.
I'm ready.
I feel like it's unfair to put something in the budget without getting input from the homeowners.
Yeah. Second.
I feel it is unfair to put something in the budget without asking the homeowners if they agree with it. We had a focus group here. They said no. That focus group is a representation of our community. So, if we're gonna do anything, we're gonna have to vote. I agree.
You want me to take that?
I agree with the statement of Brenda.
Can you?
My name is Magda Basser, Shalimar Point. Shalimar Lane. But anyways, I don't think we need to be putting out, wasting his time to do all this now. Why if we don't? The owners don't want it, so why secure all this time and effort for what? This has to be approved by everybody before that comes to satisfaction.
You got his hand up too, and I have my hand
Don, you mentioned that the 50 people getting
31 homeowners were represented.
31 homes.
Scoot over. 31 homes represented, there's roughly 50 people. Of those people, 4 people voted for, the rest voted against.
About 20 people voted for financial services only on the first vote.
Here?
No.
Somebody heard and said they didn't want to spend a penny. The rest of us said we did not want to spend a penny. Okay, so the So why are we leaving it all?
Can we get that as part of the minutes? The fact that straw vote did happen, both of them?
I don't know what meeting he was at.
The town hall, the town.
Yeah, the town hall meeting.
How many are willing to,
Just a couple comments.
How many are willing to volunteer?
First, I very much appreciate it. No, speaking on this topic, yes, sir. First, I want to thank, this is awesome that we're getting to have this discussion instead of arbitrarily the board raising dues on everybody without any input whatsoever. So how about we look at a possible idea of putting a budget committee together first, and if that doesn't work, okay, then let's look at the reserves. If you guys want this so bad, pull the money out of the reserves for 1 year, fund it, and see if it's worth the cost instead of arbitrarily raising the dues on the residents without any input. And we just talked about tennis courts, $5. Now you guys hear me?
It's the problem that.
So to the issue, the first thing you said, we do actually have a financial committee that is specifically designed for that, to look at the budget and help plan the budget. And it was just instituted, Nana McDonald's on it, and we're looking for additional people to be part of it. So thank you for bringing that up, and we are, I won't say a step ahead of you, we are a half a step ahead of you, but we've actually started the recruiting process for that. But I think it's important. All right? As far as taking money out of other things like reserve funds and stuff, I think that's a real slippery slope. I don't think we should go down that road. I think we should consider options like we are, where you may potentially vote to, and I will just tell you, a few years ago, we voted to increase, or we didn't vote. It was voted for us by the board to increase our dues based on what they thought we should do, those being the board members at the time. And it wasn't even this kind of discussion about a directed, targeted reason for doing so. I appreciate what you're saying, but at least as a member who's been here for the last couple of years, paying attention to what has been done here, I think this idea of building in some increase into the dues with the intention that we are going to look at possibly doing this service is not only fair, it's our job to figure out if that's the right thing to do, because that's what we're elected to do, is to control that budget. As far as whether or not we should do this particular purchase, I really appreciate everyone coming to that town hall. I really appreciate everyone here talking about it. I think it's very hot, everyone's very hot about this issue. I don't think we're going to solve this tonight.
Any other thoughts?
did you have a question? It's on.
First of all, if anybody has read,
Just don't touch that button.
if anybody has read the covenants on pages 17 through 21, the monies that are put into the budget, the board can approve as long as it covers operational expenses for this community. It doesn't necessarily mean that $5 is going to be earmarked specifically for the property management company or legal fees or whatever. According to our covenants, okay, already in place, in writing, 17 through 21, you can read it, or I've got a copy for you. All it does is earmark to put into the budget an additional $5 for an increase in homeowners' fees or assessments. What's going to be so bad about this whole thing is they're going to have the money one way or the other, whether it's for the dues or a special assessment for legal fees. Anything can be put into the budget, and it does have to be approved by the homeowners. By vote. The budget has to be approved by the homeowners. I'm sorry.
It's important that the homeowners have a say.
They will have a say when it is voted for the budget. Yes, it is. That's a fact. budget, whether it's inclusive of $5 or
We wanna go
not.
back to the old days, thank you.
So
We weren't gonna say.
we're not gonna go back. We're just going to go by the rules. And the rules say that we are responsible for the budget. We have to propose a budget, the budget has to be voted upon by the community. And as far as the dues, we're the ones who set it. And we're responsible for how that money is spent. And that's what's being said. I wanna close this right now. I think we're getting way off on
I've
this.
got one comment, Sam, just a short one.
What I'm hearing, people say, I don't want to spend money, I don't want to spend a penny more on financials. A financial package gives you a wealth of people to support that know the financials, know their accounting, they know the state statutes. That's what we're paying for. You don't want to spend $1 to it, but you're expecting one person to do all of that.
No, I have to say something.
And, you know,
I do too.
I think line items.
And I'll probably get shot later, but.
It is a line item, that's all it is in the budget.
Budget's added line items.
And they can do that.
To speak? Yeah, so I guess I have 2 points, or 1 point and 1 question. The first point is, I think there's misunderstanding. To your point, we understand you have to vote on the budget. I don't think they're arguing against that. They're arguing against the fact that we should be voting on even having this thing be put in the budget in the first place, because it sounds like most people don't agree with it. And then the second part, really, that's for me is, I guess I still haven't heard a convincing argument of why we need this management committee or company. Like, what issue do we have now that we can't solve, first of all? And second of all, we're already starting to instigate a lot of things using modern technology, right? The internet, cameras, whatever you want to call it. Venmo, right? We've been paying checks for how long? And Venmo's been around for like a decade, like about 15 years. We're starting to instigate all of this. Why don't we just go ahead and try everything we're doing now? And then if it doesn't work in a year, we can come back and say, all right, what we tried isn't working. Now we've got to look for other solutions. But right now it doesn't seem like anything is broken for us to have to need this outside agency to come in.
I was going to say something similar, but basically, what is the problem we're trying to solve? And what I heard is a backup. And what I heard was that the only way to get the backup is to hire, someone that knows financials. And I think we have a lot of people in the community that have those qualifications.
Where are they?
Well, to that point, we have a treasurer and we have a financial committee. Financial committee is headed up by Adam McDonald, and I welcome people to contact either the treasurer, myself, the vice president, or Adam. And at the financial committee meeting, which we'll have you'll have to post a date on that? Okay, so reach out to us and, it's time to do it. Time to put ourselves in. You want to avoid having a financial services package, and we need to have people actively participating in that. And, it's, to me, it's a fairly inexpensive safeguard, but so be it. We will not vote on that now. You want to vote on it?
What would we be voting on?
I don't see anything we can vote on right now. Kick it down, I will give people a chance to get with us.
Here's the thing, is that if you voted to put 12,000 in the budget, and then he does a review and says, yeah, I don't need it, you still got the money, you haven't spent it out.
Well, that's the issue of the budget. The budget has to be put together.
Your budget is developed to create the estimate for your assessments. Just because we have a created budget doesn't mean at the end of the year we're going to spend to that budget.
Agreed.
If we do not spend to that budget, any funds expended excessive of that budget are coming out of our reserves. So we're either trying to prevent any additional funds coming out of reserves now, or we try and be proactive to anticipate additional funds. It doesn't matter if it is a project management or a property management company, or if it's additional items. I'd still identify that we have to develop a budget. Doesn't mean we have to follow the budget. And that's ultimately the.
And the contrast to that is if you have something in your budget you don't use, you can go into the reserves if you don't use it.
Correct.
I'm gonna put a stop to this. Let's move on. Mr. Denny, anything from gate security? You did always speak to that. All right, welcome committee. Tammy?
There were no new members, but I have the magnets, so if you didn't get one already, come and see me after the meeting. And these are a lot brighter and they're easier to see, but if you still can't see them, once you go on the QR code, you'll be able to read everything very well.
All right. The election committee. This is actually a big issue, and I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. We had a meeting on September 19th. There are 3 director positions to be elected in December. Originally, it was posted that it would be 2. There was an error in looking at this. This is 3. In a nutshell, 2 directors, Carl and I, were elected for 3-year terms in December of 2024. 1 director, Don Yoakum, was appointed in January of 2025, essentially to fill Rick Sherman's term, which was from January 24th to December 26th. So therefore, he serves through December 2025 by the rules, and then is up for re-election. And there is, from that, 1-year term left in Rick's term.
To the next election.
Yes, to the next election. But that's a 3-year term.
6 December.
So it'd be next year. It'd be one of these positions would be a 1-year term.
An
Then-
appointment lasts until the next scheduled election.
Correct. But Denny is retiring from his term. That is a 3-year term that is becoming available. And then do my best to piece together the other position. I believe it's probably another, it's a 2-year term. So there will be a 3-year term, a 2-year term, and a 1-year term. 3 people, 3 different terms. And we will appoint those terms based on seniority. I know it's complicated. Discuss it with the attorney on a very long call about mediation. So, long story short, there are 3 positions that will be elected. Where are we on the timeline? Brenda?
October 10th. Anybody can volunteer, self-nominate up until 10 October.
10/10.
And then you have to have your resume in by 10/17. And we're going to be very strict with the times.
All right, so to summarize, by October 10th, contact, and by 17th, the resumes. All right. There was discussion about a meet and greet. We have a date and idea for a meet and greet.
Not yet.
All
We're
right.
working on it.
Okay, once we have the candidates, we'll offer up a meet and greet. Okay. And finally, there will be, continue the process of a raffle for quarterly dues, which is at the election.
Is that 4?
4 quarterly, 4 wins.
For 3 years.
Yes, for a quarter of dues.
1 full year's.
The budget committee, financial committee, Adam, again, please contact us if you're interested in joining that. Beautification, Brenda?
I just have one thing. I arrived a little late, so a lot of you didn't get to see this. This is your color. You all chose it. It's a very nice survey that Michael Waysar put together, but it's over as of 30th of September. And the winner is this color. colonial. Pretty. Compare this with that color. This is the color we have right now, that blue. So this is just has a little more gray in it, and something darker, and it'll look beautiful.
Soothing.
Now, what I have to do is I still have to get bids. I have one bid, and then that has to be submitted to the budget.
Thank you for that. And you do notice I had up there pumpkins. Thank you. Really did look beautiful. All right, document review committee, which is now appointed, and Tracy, do you have anything about that?
Mr. Peters mentioned, at the beginning of the meeting, October the 16th at 5:30, we have our first committee meeting.
Where will that be?
Right here, sir. And I want to thank the members that have volunteered to be on the committee. Mrs. Sharon Horn, of course myself, Mr. Peters is our board rep, Mrs. Tammy McDonald, Mrs. Connie, right, Kremble, and Mr. Bill Douglas, and I believe that's, I'm still waiting to hear one more individual, Mr. Will. And that's the committee, so our first meeting is on the 16th.
That's 5:30 here.
You just signed up too.
5:30, October 16th, here in the clubhouse.
Yes, sir.
All right, golf course, anything new?
Just real quickly, Sam, I'll talk about it. Not a lot going on right now, but this Thursday, we're gonna be getting mediation discussions with the county here for our lawsuit. We've been in litigation now for a little over 2 years here, seeking damages done by the county here that came out for this restoration project. So we'll have more hopefully by next meeting. Hopefully we'll have some good news, but the process is starting. Our attorneys are meeting with county attorneys, and a few of us here starting Thursday morning. More to follow.
Quick question for the golf course. Now that we've gone through really full year, we've now gone through and paid the next full year of that our contract with you. Just trying to figure out and ask either one, can you tell us now, or is it better in December? What you've done with those funds? How have we helped you? What could you not have done if we were not providing the support?
A couple of things. Number one comes to mind. We're getting ready to oversee the course. The oversee costs about $15,000. It's going to look nice and green throughout the entire winter. So we would not have been able to do that. We probably would have had to substantially cut our chemical budget. And now is the time we start putting pre-emergent out for next spring, because we certainly become a problem very early. But we use most of that money for chemicals. Like I said, we have repairs here, some equipment, some of our police carts are down here, so that's where the money goes. Just as a side note, we have 5 directors. None of the directors, like you guys, you don't take any money out. So we do this on a volunteer basis. But we spend probably close to $30,000 every 2 weeks just for payroll. That sounds like a lot of money, but we got about 20 employees, and nobody really makes a lot of money here, to be honest with you. We have 2 people on salary, and that's about it. But that's where the money is.
Now, to follow on that, I know it was asked last year, is there any expectation or inability to provide us with a business plan of how you are looking to move forward and, I'll say, succeed as an organization without our funds?
We will know more if and when we get a settlement. It should make us solid. Right now, as most people know, we run hand and out here, to be quite honest. We have a line of credit here that we borrowed against heavily. We nearly went under 2 years ago, and we had to go take out a $300,000 line of credit. There are 3 couples that have personally pledged, guaranteed that line of credit to be paid back. So we do everything here we can to cut our costs. And again, the key for us is having public play coming out here and supporting our course. And the same thing with our community here. About 25% of our revenue comes from members here in the community. The other 75% comes from public way.
But I'm still trying to get back to, I understand a lot of effort is expected on settlement with the county. Whether it does happen or it does not happen, even path forward, we'll just say you do get the settlement from the county. What is the business plan to ensure that the golf course is going to remain solvent for the next 10 to 15 years versus the next 2 or 3? I don't know. I'm just trying to understand path forward.
Okay, we have revenue targets that we try to hit here. We need about $150,000 a month in revenue to break even and make a little bit of money. I don't have a backup plan if we have a hurricane next week and I lose, half of that revenue for the month.
Oh, and it's, I'm not asking, I don't, well, no, hold on. I'm not trying to put you on your heels. I'm not trying to get you to defensive. I am trying to follow up and ask, is it possible, or can you provide information that has been requested in the past that has not been provided? And really it's the business plan of understanding how is the golf course going to not just manage by and limp on as you're saying it, struggling from month to month, to it's a thriving golf course. Is that even possible? Or if it's not, then that's a different conversation. I'm just trying to understand do you have the ability to provide a business model or plan, path forward for operation and funding? As we're doing a budget, do you have the ability to review a budget with us, or even your members, of operations for the next year, or 5 years?
Well, it all starts with revenue. We make revenue projections, okay? And from that, we look at our costs. Okay? We have a lot of costs here. We probably have $50,000 to $60,000 a month in fixed costs. I'll give you some examples. Our insurance runs about $5,000 a month. Our electricity runs $5,000.
But I don't need dollar values right now. I'm asking, do you have the ability to provide any of this feedback? Last year, we tried doing a town hall where the golf course graciously, you came in, you explained to everybody, this is how the community is supporting the golf course.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to understand, do you have the ability to provide that explanation of this is how we as a golf course is going to move forward? Is this something either one during the December meeting? Is it something, or before, a separate meeting, I don't know, that you're able to explain either one, this is the golf course path forward, how you're looking to succeed, how you're going to operate, either one, now that you do have a settlement or do not have a settlement over the next year, over the next 5 years, so to give the assurance to the community that the golf course will hopefully continue to be around for a couple more years.
Insurance to do what? Exactly. What would you do with this information?
I'm just trying to understand, how is the community helping the golf course? If the question is the golf course is not receiving enough funding, do we as a golf course community need to support the golf course more? Is it, if there is no plan, then why are we supporting the golf course? I want to help the golf course. I want the golf course to succeed and do well.
All right,
But
guys.
we're getting on.
I apologize. I appreciate you coming and telling us, maybe to summarize, there was a very nice state of the golf course town hall that was provided to us last year. Maybe we can ask you to do something like that again. Maybe we can make that a regular thing, because we're essentially investors in the club the way it is. So maybe we can do something like that.
We can.
All right. Tracy, I want to come to you last one. Yeah, Miss Tammy? Miss Tammy?
I just want to say that I think, Mary Carmen and I worked very hard on trying to make some changes in the covenants and in the ASC documents. And in order to make a change, we wanted to see what the community support, who was for it and who was against it. So I really feel like with this increase in dues to $245 a quarter now, it's an extra $60. I feel like we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to make some changes. And I think that we need to With that amount of money, 12,000 for the year, we could hire a bookkeeper, part-time,
$5, it'd be $5 a month.
$5 a quarter. Right.
$5 a month, $15, so $175.
$60 a month. a year.
$60 more.
A year.
A year, 245 to the 185.
No, $60 a year. So if we're 740, you're now 800 a year. $200 a quarter.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
so instead of 175, it'd be
Instead of 185, it'd be 200.
190. 185, it'd be 200.
Who's doing the math?
I'm sorry.
I don't know, I didn't.
Instead
I
of
didn't-
185, it would be $200 a quarter
Right.
per home.
A month, 12.
No, a
five-
quarter.
five-
$5 a month.
Okay,
3 months per quarter,
3 months per quarter,
$5 per month,
right,
$15 per quarter,
right,
$60 per year,
$60 per year,
$740 per year currently,
with another $60.
$800.
$800.
Yes.
Yes.
$200.
Okay.
That, it seems like everyone's waving off. I'm going to make a motion
Yes.
to adjourn.
Yes.
Next meeting is, actually, thanks Denny, November 11th. It is Veterans Day. Anyone have any conflict with November 11th? Okay, November 11th it is. Now, motion to adjourn.
All right, those of you that need a magnet, I think there's 5 of you that don't have a magnet.
Yes, vote. Adjourn, all adjourn. I didn't mean to leave hanging there.
Thank you for the chocolate. It seemed like that was done.
Until the next election, which is December. December 6th. Right. On that day.
No, it doesn't. Our attorney has the minutes.
Say that again. I understand the serving until the election.
And you're reelected, and the normal term of election is 3 years.
Correct. And that's where unless further on, you state before the election that it would be a shorter term so that you avoid.
That's continuity. No, that's not. That's true. That's what you're saying is true, but that's not necessarily the reason. The reality is, and I can find it. We went through.
As long as you identify before the election.
One person serving a 3-year term, one term is 2, one person is 1, or however else.
As long as that's stated.
However,
She is such a fun lady.
people come and go in between anyway, so what you plan now is not gonna.
My goal is to try to keep the terms. So the highest vote getter will get a 3-year term. Then the second highest vote getter will get it. And then we should try and keep the same
We've been named in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Is our D&O still with Travelers Insurance? The guy we had last year?
Yes.
Here's what happened last year when we pursued McDonald's. We had records that they turned it over to their litigation department. After 3 or 4 weeks, Becker was in a conversation with our agent downtown. He said, "Oh, you have to notify travel." So I did. So I said, "We really don't need a attorney because we have our attorney working with us." He said, "Well, by the terms of the policy, you have 2 choices. You do that, in which case they'll send you the release, relieving us of any liability in this lawsuit, or you use our attorney and policy coverage applies. So if you don't get this traveler's guide, you're on your own. You lose
Right now, we are not going down the path of trying to use travelers to cover all of the obligations. We
and say, yeah, I could use some help. No, I can't. I'm talking about
We were advised to hang on.
No, but you could be the overseer of all of this. Let them do the heavy lifting. How many volunteers from that group that I talked to, that at the beginning, they help at the,
They still have not, they still are coming after 5,000.
okay.
So, we get the volunteers.
Okay, so you have no volunteers.
Happy to talk to them.
Okay, that was my point. Thank you for the work you do.
That it is. I emailed back to get the attendance. They keep saying, go get it now. It's due, it's 5,000 here and 5,000
But that give the travelers an out to say, you guys lost because you didn't have adequate representation and you're not gonna pay the bill.
You're right.
I don't think so.
You're right.
You just do not have this obligation to our business, and they don't get involved until a certain point in the litigation. And so that's when you let them know, hey, now this is gonna affect you, and then they can have some influence